Just as an example of this, you may have heard of this because it became very well known for a while. It's kind of faded away now, but the $1 Million homepage. This got a huge amount of publicity, and actually the site made $1 million, and it got tons of publicity, and it got all the publicity because it was really a good story. People wanted to hear about it. The story was about this English guy who was at university and struggling for money, so he put together this web page where he sells pixels. He's selling pixels on his website. And actually, if you read through the site, if you read the blog and also the press page, you'll see the story he put together, and the story really caught on. And he was interviewed in lots of places, and because of that publicity, he sold out the page and made $1 million. So if the story really catches on, you can get a lot of publicity and a lot of links. Okay, I've quickly gone back to Yahoo and done a link domain search for $1 Million homepage. 62,000 links. So this really got talked about. So that's one way to get lots of links. And the last way I'm going to talk about in this crash course into link building is blogs. I'm sure you've heard a lot about blogs, and you can get set up with one very easily using Blogger, blogger.com. And if you go with Blogger, you want it hosted on your website, not at blogger.com. It's quite easy to actually get a Blogger blog hosted on your website rather than here. And there are full details on how to do that as soon as you sign up. Or there's free blogging software at wordpress.org, and there are many other options as well if you just search for blogging software. And if you really want to get on with blogging and aren't familiar with all the concepts yet, you may want to read a site like problogger.net, which is a good resource on it. What I'm leading to here is that blogs attract links to your site like almost nothing else. Let's say you're selling golf equipment, and your site is golfequipment.com. That's unlikely because I would assume that site's domain is already taken, but just as an example. So golfequipment.com/blog. And you set up the blog in a separate folder. And what do you blog about? Well, think about what people who might buy golf equipment are interested in. Again, they're going to be interested in useful content. So, how to improve your swing, how to choose the right golf ball, how to choose the right golf club, or the problem with cheap golf clubs, for example, just as a few off the top of my head ideas. You could really write about anything having to do with the subject. So what you want to do is make it really interesting. You want to attract readers who come back again and again. Making the content interesting can be a lot of work, so you may want to outsource this or get a member of your staff to do it. But the writing has to be good. It has to be easy to read, it has to be interesting, it has to be relevant, and it has to make people want to keep coming back. And really interesting blogs just attract links like almost nothing else. You may want to spend some time browsing to see which articles and blogs really get the attention, but a format which always seems to work very well in the blog world is lists. For example, 7 ways to a perfect golf swing, or 10 ways to help reduce your handicap in the next 2 months, for a couple of quick examples. So people like lists, and really interesting and relevant lists often get linked to. And with blogs, there's no limitation on how much you write. You can have very long blog posts, but again, they have to be interesting. And with blogs, you can add pictures or video, you can even add audio, and also you can do interviews. I really suggest keeping your blogs up to date, because if someone visits regularly and it's not updated, they're less likely to come back, and even more than daily updates if you want. But again, that can all be outsourced. But the benefit there is that it creates a massive amount of relevant content for your site, which gets a lot more traffic through the search engines, so it greatly increases the content of your site. Also, again, blogs really get a lot of links, especially really interesting articles. And the more established your blog, the more links you'll get as well. And what you want, this happens a good deal, is reciprocal linking. You link to a blog, they link back to you probably. In the blogging world, that's known as a blog roll. A blog roll is essentially a list of blogs that may interest the reader, and those blogs may often link back. So in the blog world, everyone's linking to everyone else, and everyone's talking about everyone else. Another way to get links is to talk about controversial subjects. Bloggers love to link to you if you're being controversial. That's also called link baiting. You write something that baits people into linking to you. They just do it because they almost can't help themselves. Obviously, don't hurt your image or your brand by writing something controversial that you'll never recover from, but again, just as a quick example, I don't know if this is right or not, but just as a very quick example, a link baiting post could be, "Why I think Nike golf clubs are awful." Or you could even use stronger language if you wish, really to get people's attention. So really, in a way, it becomes somewhat tabloid-like. People read more that way, they link to you, they talk about you, and so on. And in the blogging world, people often talk about other blogs. So if you link to them, they'll link to you, and everyone's talking about everyone else. So it's a good way to get links quite quickly if you're prepared to build up really good content quickly and also continuously over time. And as you do this, if you wish, you can keep an eye on it as more and more sites link to you and see how the number keeps growing. Also, if you want to, you can keep an eye on your Google PageRank and see how that keeps growing over time. Don't take that too seriously, but it's a very broad idea of what Google thinks of your site. So all that taken together is really quite the straightforward way, without getting too technical at all, for you to get started almost immediately on building and continually growing the links to your site. Not only do you get traffic from those links, of course, but it builds your reputation in the search engines more and more, which in turn will get you more and more traffic over time. One last thing to keep in mind. Always keep an eye on your competition. See what they're doing. See who's linking to them. See how many links there are to your competitors. And by keeping your eye on that, see if you can outcompete them. If a competitor is in the top 20 or top 10 for keywords, and you're interested in overtaking them, see what they're doing and improve on it. Just get links from similar sites or even the same sites. Just see what they're doing and see if you can take what they're doing, copy it, and improve on it. For example, if they're getting a lot of publicity, can you get a lot of publicity? If they have a regularly updated blog, can you create an even more regularly updated blog that gets linked to even more? And so on. So one-upping your competition, while not breaking any of Google's rules and making the whole process pretty natural to the building of a content site or an e-commerce site. Just in general, if you want people to link to you, if you want people to come to you from other sites, and you perhaps pay for links, or get people to link to you, or submit articles, make that entire process natural. Don't overdo it, but keep an eye on your competition and keep building upon the process, and this way you'll get more and more search engine traffic, and at a certain point your site will be so established, will have so much authority, and will have so many people linking to it that you wouldn't be able to stop the traffic coming to it every day, even if you wanted to.